Yo, what's up? Tom V here. This is part 2 on how to clean carbs on a 1997 Gsxr 750. Alright, so part 1 I showed you how to take off the carbs, and part 2 I'm just going to do a little bit, cut through any parts that take me a while, but take you through it step by step and show you how to clean your pilot jets for fuel starvation, as well as your floats, needle, and seat for in case your needles aren't seating properly. Sorry that took so long to get out. Alright, so I'm just going to tilt the screen down. Alright, so this is the front of it. This goes into the front of your air box. This is the back of it, and everything that we're going to be cleaning is going to be on the back. So we're going to flip this over. Make sure you have something plastic down, whether it's a huge Tupperware container or a huge plastic bag like I'm using, but something to catch all the gas that's going to be leaking out of this the bowls, as well as something to catch any WD-40 that you might be spraying for the cleaning. Alright, so now that it's upside down, we can get at these 3 Phillips heads that I was talking about earlier. And you can use, now that it's upside down, downward pressure to try to take these off. However, just like last time, these are stuck, so I'm going to use my vice grip tool and adjust it so it just fits around the Phillips head screws, and then I'll turn it with this thing. So I'll cut back in after I'm done, and I'll remove all 12 screws on all 4 plates. Alright, so I've just loosened up these 3. Now I'm on to the 4th one, and I just want to show you how I get this last one off, just so you can see how much difficulty I'm having with it. Also, I definitely suggest, I mean, you can try it with a Phillips head screwdriver, but I would definitely recommend a clamping or a needle nose plier, or a variation of the 2 to get these things out, because these are very difficult, very stuck in there. And this pops them right out, so you're able to just use a screwdriver for the rest of the work. Alright, so we're going to open up these all at one time, but only clean them one at a time. I have to break these things up top, I forgot. Sorry if this part's hard to see. I'll get more detailed once we're actually cleaning. But yeah. I've heard that a lot of times you don't have to buy carb kits. You can just clean and reuse the parts that are in there. I mean, it makes sense. There's not many wearing parts in here. However, the gas is corrosive, so I could see like maybe gasket replacing, or the floats, which are plastic, being more of a prevalent change that needs to happen. So basically, the first time you saw me, I was cleaning the carbs because I was heading back, heading from Philadelphia to Westchester. I was on the highway, and I knew my pilot jets, which are the jets that squirt the gas into the carbs, were a little bit clogged because I was bogging down at higher RPMs, which means fuel starvation. And so since I was on the highway higher RPMs for a while, I think what happened was it loosened up some little piece of debris and actually made it more clogged. So that's why I had to do it that time. And I didn't think to clean the needles and the seats. So now I'm having a problem which has gotten worse with the fuel leaking into my oil. And anyone with this problem will tell you it's annoying as hell because you keep on having to do expensive oil changes. And at first I thought it was the petcock valve. I replaced that. It still fucking leaks. So then I put a gas switch in. I don't know. Just long story kind of deal. And it was still leaking after I put the gas switch in, so I'm guessing it's these needles and these seats, because I checked the only two lines running from the gas tank into these carbs and put a plastic bag over them with zip ties and see if they collected gas, which they didn't. So that means the gas that is already in here is leaking slowly into my engine through the part that I'm going to clean today. Alright, so like I was saying in the other video, you're going to want to detach these 4 tubes and should allow for the tops of these carb bowls to come off. Oh, alright, well, the reason why this is not coming off like it did last time is because part of my fuel line I left on purpose, but I guess you have to detach it. Alright, so now this should come off easily. Yeah. Alright, so these just pull out. And remember, this is upside down, and we're pulling these parts in the back of the carbs further back. And that exposes some gas that's leaking out right now, really close to my awesome Mac computer. Alright, so these are the float carbs. I see a piece of hair. That seems external though. Ew, that was gross. So these are the floats. And we're going to check and see if those aren't damaged. These are the pilot jets. Sorry, I don't want to drip on my computer all this gas. And then under here, this part of the float right here, not on this side, but on this side, there's a little mechanism with the needle in the seat, which is the part that I'm interested in today. So yeah, I'll get back to you. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I am taking a paper clip and sliding out the pins that hold the floats in place. Pins look like that. It's just a cylinder. It's about 3/4 of an inch long. And here's a float. Now, I've noticed that these are the tabs that I have to, that metal thing hooks on to this float needle that looks like this, and it hooks on to here, just like that. And as this goes up and down, it controls that little needle. So basically, all I'm doing is I checked that little tab that needle hangs on, and I realized that you know how the bike leans on the side that the kickstand is on when the kickstand is down? That means that bowl number 1 is going to fill extra with gas. So those are actually calibrated a little bit to handle that, aka that tab is actually bent up more, and then the tabs are bent down a little bit more on the 4th float. Also, a subtlety that I've noticed is that because of that gas being more in the 1st and the 4th, also the floats are differentiating in color. The lighter ones, rather than the darker ones, I don't know if you can see a color differentiation with this camera, but the lighter one is the first, and it gets darker and darker as it was sitting in less and less gas. So I was debating whether or not to put the darker ones in place of the lighter ones, except I don't think I'm going to do that just because the tabs are bent a certain way. I did notice that tab number 1 was bent down, so I bent that to match more of number 2, because tab number 1 looked like 3 and 4. So I'm going to do that. Also, where the needle seats in, I'm going to put it in and spin it around. Some people say to use toothpaste. I would just not use that, so you don't have to clean it out. And just go back and forth maybe like 20 times. I'm only spinning it a quarter turn. The kid said he was doing it half turns. But as much as you can get it, the more important thing is to not damage your equipment. Okay, so I also just wanted to say that I took all the needles out, sprayed everything down with carb cleaner. Now I'm just putting back the needles on the pin, or the needles on the floats, and then putting the pivoting pin back in. That really wraps it up. You just want to make sure you get all the junk out of it. And yeah, so I think I did find the problem that it was this little tab that is adjustable. On my first one was just bent too low, so it was allowing gas to slowly flow into my oil tank. So it depends where the lever is, the fulcrum is on your float, but for this specific bike, Carb system, when it pulls the float up, it also pulls the needle in the seat up, which stops the gas flow. I thought it was the other way around, where it would stop the gas flow by pulling up on the needle and pulling up on the float and pushing down on the needle. But I guess that's not the case. And last but not least, when you're putting in your needles, just make sure they go in the same direction that you took them out. You'll see, like, if you look at the top of it, there'll be the wires bent out, around, and then up. I don't know, that's a really bad description. A better description would be that it's like in the shape of a B, and the B would, the curved parts of the B would be facing up towards the front of the bike. So yeah, I'm gonna put this all back together and then change my oil and finally give you a nice preview of my bike running with a better quality camera. I'm still going to use my laptop camera, so it's at least better than my phone. So yeah, so I hope this helped you. I hope it really did, even though the quality of this shot is not that great. Alright, thank you.